Hello once again, witchy people. And today I wanted to talk about words, the power of words, magically and emotionally. And then a couple of days ago, whilst I was figuring out and planning on what I was going to say, the wonderful and amazing beanbag hagwag Trish made a video about words, and I thought her video was so perfect. I will link it down below. Please do watch it. It was so utterly perfect that I thought, I really don't want to make mine now. But she asked me to, and when Trish asks you to do something, you can't help but do it because she's so lovely. So here we go, the power of words and sometimes symbols, magic and emotion. Now, the belief that the spoken word has power goes back thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. About 5,000 years ago, there was some ancient peoples who rearranged the symbols of their words and said them in a slightly different way, so that when they said words like wolf, they didn't have as much power, because it was believed that to say a word was to bring whatever you talked about into existence. It was to bring it to life. You breathed life into the word and made it true. And that is also very similar to the Kotodama or Kototama beliefs in Japan. And that is actually, it literally means that the words Kotodama and also Kototama literally mean spirit or soul of the word. And it is an ancient Japanese belief that gives mystical powers to words. They believe that mystical powers are held within words, and that as you say them, sound magically affects everything, and it brings words to life. So, and especially if you say words in a certain order and in a certain way, they become ritual words, and these can affect the environment as well as the person and the soul. So, like I said, this belief has gone back thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. Now, I think of Kemeticism and Heka, however you'd like to say it. And that was also the ancient Egyptian belief that to say something was to make it exist. So before people could even write, obviously, we knew that words had power, because sound in itself holds power. Everyone can say, not everyone could read or write, but people could make sounds, and sounds in themselves held power, because sound, words are sound, and sound is energy. And there is that whole idea that sound, and this I don't understand very much, sound in itself, because it is an energy, and sound can create geometric, sacred geometry, and so therefore the sound, the spoken word, holds great power. So once again, it was the belief that the right words spoken in the right order can be extremely powerful, and the force of emotion behind words added power to them. And you can write words down and they hold power, but to actually then say those words out loud, to give them sound, gives them energy, and that gives them true power, gives them exceptional power. With the written word, you can obviously add your own energies to it. You can add elements, like when you do spell work, and so you can add fire, you can add water, you can add the element of air, and all these increase the power. But to make it truly powerful, you say the words. And there's a whole link between spell, as in to say a spell, to weave a spell, and the word spell meaning to spell a word. It's a very close connection. It's really interesting, and I won't go into that now because it will take too long otherwise, but I will do. I will make a video on spell. So, like I was saying, because the written word has no sound, it has no vibration, so it has no power in itself. The written word has to have the power of intent behind the person writing it. It has to have the power of other elements to make it magic, whereas spoken word is magic all by itself. Now, as we all know, we all hate a label, but a name or a label that we give ourselves and that we can choose for ourselves can play an important part in not just creating the world in which we live, because it does. It also allows other people, it allows us to let other people define us in a certain way and how they see us. And once again, that goes back to words being energy, and the energy that we invest in those words is what gives them power and magic. So you've mentioned things like, you've heard people say, oh, you're so honey-tongued or golden-tongued, or you have the gift of the gab is a more recent one. And I think throughout history we have placed in very high esteem and high regard anyone who can use words very effectively and wisely. And once again, that goes back to using the right words at the right time, in the right order, in the right places, and having the advantage of being in command of language, and therefore words can prove not just useful in tricky situations, of course, but can elevate a person to sometimes even legendary status. On the flip side of that, you've also got the tongue can cut deeper than a knife, sharp tongue, cutting remarks. Now these all show that as well as making a situation better, words can make situation much, much worse. It's not just the emotion behind the word, it is the vibration, the sound, the energy behind those words. Now, it's also a warning that words can wound. Now, physical scars can fade and heal, but a hurtful word can scar a heart and a psyche forever. And because the memory holds on to those words, so they can become a permanent scar. So when our ancestors wished each other well, or prosperity, or a long life, or happiness, you know, these words were meant with such feeling and such emotion that they were magical, that they actually held magical power. When you said them, you meant them magically, almost, you know, you truly did mean them, and that's the intent behind them as well. And put these together with a drink or a feast and you have something that became a ritual, and that then again increased the energy and increased the magic and increased the truth of the words. Now, once again, if you look at the bad side, that opposite to that, the vehemence we can put behind words, the anger we can put behind words can turn them into a curse. And that's a real energy. You know, that is something that the curse becomes almost an entity unto itself. And it becomes real and hurtful and dangerous. And historically, if a curse was uttered without cause or reason, it was thought that there would be nowhere for the curse to travel to. and because it had to have a goal, and you couldn't just curse unnecessarily, and if a curse had nowhere to go, it would fall back on the person who had uttered it. So to curse unnecessarily was to curse yourself. And it was also believed, and there is the power of life and death between words. I mean, you've heard of people being talked off of the edge, jumping off the edge of buildings. There is power in words. They can save lives, they can damage lives irrevocably. They can make someone give up completely, and they can encourage someone to heights greater than they could have imagined. Think of Chicken Little. Remember Chicken Little? The sky's falling down, the sky's falling down. And that kind of teaches us that when your words aren't kept in check, when you do not think about what you're saying, they can kind of almost start to take on a life of their own. Things can get out of hand very, very quickly, and an energy and momentum, starts to build behind these words, due to these words, and it needs very, very little encouragement to start gathering pace. We are all natural storytellers. It's built into our DNA, into our genetic structure, our ancestral memory. Now, words aren't driven by truth or understanding even. The sound of words are driven by belief. We believe in words. We ourselves breathe the life into words. So you can see how magically words are very important. And with what's going on in our community at the moment, you can understand that they are also very, they can cause emotional effect as well as magical effect. When you think about simple things like, if you scream in terror, yes, that is part of a throwback to, as a warning, to warn our tribe. But we put power behind that. When we scream in fear, there's power and emotion behind that. When we laugh, there is power and emotion behind that, and it becomes magical. Sound, and those sounds that we form into words, become increasingly magical. Now, as a sort of like extension to that, this is why I also think symbols are more powerful magically than the written word. And it's because of this. A symbol is a picture. And you can write down a word, and you can say that word, and that word has power. But on the page, it doesn't hold much power. You would have to write an awful lot of words to describe something, to give it the power that it needs. So when you can draw a picture or a symbol, what you are doing is giving a representation of a lot of words. And a lot of words are power. Which is why, like I said, this is why I think symbols have a magical power, because they mean such a lot. They encompass a lot of words. So, and that's part of the reason why I think symbols are very magical and very powerful. So there you go. Magic and emotion. Words have power. That's it for today. Don't forget to watch Trish's video. I will link it below. Thank you for watching, witchy people. Bye for now.